Hey, welcome to Rick's Retirement Journey. I know it's been a while since I've really pushed out a video here and there, but I wanted to catch up again. You know, I've got that list of 101 substitute activities. So here we go again. This is part number 3. Turn off the television and do this instead. So let's go to the next one on the list, which plan a slumber party. Okay, we're a little bit older. We don't do slumber parties anymore. Or maybe if you have your grandchildren or something like that, you might help plan something for that. But yeah, slumber parties, yeah, only if you're, doing something, with friends. But which goes down to not the next one, but the one after that. Go camping, even if it's in the backyard. Hey, when was the last time you were camping? You got a tent, you got a sleeping bag, you got a sleeping pad. You find, go to a local park, pitch a tent, get a cabin, just go out and do some camping. Instead of just sitting around watching television, for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, since probably a lot of us don't work anymore. But just go camping. You can call it a retiree slumber party if you'd like. But yeah, so that takes care of a couple of them right there. One of them that I've actually thought about is becoming a tutor at the school. You would have to check with your local school, school districts and things like that, and find out, how you as a retiree might be able to help out as far as becoming a tutor in the school in whatever particular subject that you may, be pretty knowledgeable in, whether it be music, history, mathematics, science, geology, or, something like that. So if you're interested in, becoming a tutor, at your local school, by all means, just go ahead and contact them and do that instead of sitting home watching television. Let's look at the next one. Join a choir. For those of us that, practice a religion, you may already be a member of a choir. And so how does this work out as far as, becoming a member of a choir or join a choir instead of watching television? Well, sometimes choir practice takes place during the week. So, on those nights that you would normally sit down and, watch some mindless television, you can actually, become a member of a choir and, go out there and sing to your heart's content. For some people, they really enjoy that. For me, I'd rather sing in the shower and make up little songs. So, all right, we'll go from there. Next one, I've been doing a whole heck of a lot of, and not only, one area, but also other areas of the house. Go through your closets and clothes and donate surplus items to a charity. As we grow older, we know that we've got a lot of stuff. Well, many of us have a lot of stuff, not all of us. And I have been taking a closer look as to what items I use, what items I don't use, what items I need. I've kind of gotten away from a lot of the just-in-case type items. Just-in-case type items have a tendency of just kind of piling up, and the just-in-case day never seems to arrive. But I know what you're thinking. I know what you're going to say. That you give that thing away, that one item that you have been keeping just in case. The minute you give it away, the day you give it away, 2 or 3 days later, guess what? You're going to need that item again. There's a lot of opinions on this right here. How much does the item cost, and how much does it cost to replace it, and things like that. That's a personal thing. So clean out your closets, clean out your drawers. Get rid of the clutter. That's something that you could be doing instead of watching television. One thing that I like to do from time to time is I like to play cards or play games. My grandchildren come over from time to time. We'll play games, whether it's Monopoly or Scrabble. They love Scrabble. They love Monopoly. No, we don't play Chutes and Ladders anymore. We don't play Candyland anymore. My grandchildren are a little bit older, and if I was to start doing that, they'd probably kind of look at me and say, geez, Grandpa's losing it here. But play cards, play games instead of watching television. Friday night, Saturday night, invite some friends over. Get some popcorn, chips, pizza with some drinks and just have a good time, play some games and things like that. Next one is start a journal or a diary. I have a journal, and I carry it with me almost every place I go. In fact, I'm actually waiting for my wife to come out of the store. That's why it gives me a little extra time to make this video. But I carry my journal with me, wherever I go, just in case I want to make some observations, or maybe just take some notes, or whatever the case may be. Everybody journals differently. Sometimes they write down, things that have taken place. Sometimes they write down their thoughts. Some other people write down their ideas. Whatever way. But journal instead of watching television. It's much more mind clearing that way. Here's one that I seem to like a whole heck of a lot. I like going to museums. As I mentioned way back on one of Buzz's videos, I'm a docent at the National Museum of the Marine Corps. But whenever my wife and I, whenever we do a little bit of traveling, and if there seems to be a really interesting museum that both of us have an interest to go to, then we'll go there and maybe spend about an hour or two. Even though we may not look at every artifact that's there, we may not read every placard that's up on the wall, but at the same time, it's just an opportunity to go out there and do something, and of something that interests us, instead of just being home and just vegging out and just watching television. Now, I'm not saying that vegging out and watching television is bad either, but these are just some things that you can do instead of watching television. So take a nature hike, collect seeds and leaves, and make a collage. Okay, I don't know about making the collage and collecting the seeds and things like that, unless it's a plant that you'd like to grow, around your residence. But hey, just take a nature hike. I would say that in almost every location, there is a trail or a nature hike that you can go on. For me, the best time to go is always in the early morning, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, before it starts getting too hot, especially during the summertime. It gets hot, gets humid. You may not want to go out there and do something like that. But yeah, take yourself a hike. That's something that you can do instead of kicking back and watching television or watching the news, which I don't watch the news, just to let you know. Finally, for this particular episode, start a community exercise group that walks, runs, or bikes. It almost goes hand in hand with taking a nature walk. Hey, get some friends. If you all happen to live close by, go for a nature walk in the morning. Go out for coffee afterwards, or go for coffee, then go for a walk. That's entirely up to you. A lot of communities, they have groups that like to go out there and walk in the morning, maybe later on in the year when things start to cool down, maybe in the afternoon, or maybe in the evening when the temperatures have gone down and you might have to fight the mosquitoes, because mosquitoes like to come out as well. But things like that. But just go on out and join a community group and just go for a walk. But no, hey, that's the next 10 things on the list. That was number 21 through 30. Again, the list has 101 different items, and from time to time I'll make a video and just kind of give you some things that you can do. But bottom line, turn off the television and do some of those things instead. If you happen to like this type of video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. And until next time, Rick out. Have a great day. Bye.